For the fifth time in the program's history here at Wake Forest University in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, the NCAA Division I championships come to you live. Semifinal action game number 2. Princeton, out of the Ivy League with a 15-4 record, taking on Virginia, the number 3 team, the Virginia Cavaliers. Leah Secondo and Kara Lentz with you as we start off game number 2. The winner of this game will take on UNC Sunday in the national championship game. And Kara, these two teams, their road here has been very interesting. Great defensive effort by Princeton, coming in and taking care of UConn to get here. And as far as UVA is concerned, dominating effort on the road and handily beating Maryland and finding their route to Wake Forest University.
It's such an interesting tournament because there's few teams, but the road to get here after 2 games, you're in the semifinal. Every single detail has to be done well, has to be executed well. These are 2 very talented teams. You're going to expect a ton of energy from the start, but ultimately I think both have very skilled corners and corner execution. That's going to be a big key today. And again, another ACC team, 3 of 4 here in the tournament. Stellar year for the ACC.
Michelle Madison is the head coach of the Cavaliers in her 14th season. This is Virginia's 24th appearance at the championships, and 12 of those 14 years that Michelle Madison has been the head coach of the University of Virginia. On the flip side, Carla Tagliente has done phenomenal things in just 4 years at Princeton. Coach of the Year in the Ivy for the second time in her short stint at Princeton, and taking this Tiger squad to the national championship setting. You see Grace Bayless retreating into the goalkeeping area. Grace, an honorable mention Ivy League player this season. She is making her 20th start of the year. And on the flip side, at the opposite end of the field, Lauren Hauschier, one of the most exceptional young goalies in the country. She is making her 23rd start of the season with a .95 goals against average. That's second best in the country. Emma Street will take the pass back as we are just moments away to start this one. I'm sure the players having to wait through that first game and now having to wait here for the whistle, Kara. Certainly some butterflies going just a little bit, so anxiousness to go.
Yeah, that second semifinal game is hard. You're here with the other teams. You see the action. It's been a short week. You're traveling for a couple of days. Kind of just want to get it all out.
And we are underway. Game number 2 here on NCAA.com. Princeton, they're wearing the black uniforms today, taking on Virginia wearing the orange. Aaron Shanahan, one of the seniors who was also supposed to be playing in the senior game, selected, playing first here in the semifinals. 38 players from across the country selected, seniors, to participate in the senior game activities this weekend here. Here's Ezekiel's on the outside. Robinson brings it back as Virginia will work it around. Enzel Filyun. Here's the speedy Ezekiel's.
Great ball handlers and distributors in the back for UVA. They're really going to take their time in building it. Like to switch fields. That opens things up in the middle. Rachel Robinson, certainly one of the contact people inside the center of the midfield. I've been really impressed with this player over the postseason run that UVA has been able to make.
Juliana Tornetta has it taken away from her as she runs out of real estate on the side there. You see Ezekiel. Kind of expect this little bit of a cat and mouse game here in the first quarter of play as we work through 4 quarters of action. Hannah Davey trying to gain control. Davey trying to work herself through on a diagonal pass that it's taken right back by Kate Augustins.
Yeah, and I think Princeton exhibits a lot. I think Princeton exhibits a lot of speed, especially on that right side. Davey, I think, is one of the fastest players that you're going to see on the field today. And just have been very impressed with Juliana Tornetta's performance, really since she came into Princeton. This is a team that was in the championship, or excuse me, the semifinal last year.
UVA, one of 6 ACC teams garnering postseason play. They lost in the semifinals in a great match against Boston College in overtime at the ACCs. Got the at-large bid, defeated Delaware 4-1, and then in overtime 1-0 against Maryland. The path for Princeton, 5-1 victors over Syracuse, and then taking care of UConn up in Storrs. The final one, that one was 2-0. Carletta Van Gurka trying to work it out. Shanahan takes it away. There's a little bit of chippiness. That ball will stay with the Cavaliers. Should be a free hit inside.
Both of these teams doing a little bit of a relaxed press, letting the ball move around the backfield. You might see that change come the second quarter after there's some feedback on the field, but you really have to mind those passing lanes. That's exactly what Princeton is doing. They're just letting this ball go from side to side. There's no rush to jump that ball because you're looking to intercept a pass exactly like that. I think Princeton is very well disciplined. This is a team now that has a lot of experience in the NCAA tournament. And if you look at the coaching staff, their 4th year, that means their recruits are here, they're in. These are the players they want in the program that will be a best fit for the program. You know, it could really be Princeton's year to take it all.
Mm-hmm. Tigers trying to work it inside the circle, and it will be a long hit. UVA on a 10-1 run to close out the regular season and this postseason. And Princeton, the Tigers, on a roll right now, a 12-game win streak coming into this point. Hannah Davey trying to turn the corner. Long hit awarded up towards the top. Carletta Van Gurka will take the hit. Off the quick restart. Looked like Hannah Davey had jabbed in for a pretty good tackle there, but called the other way, back to UVA. 2 balls on the field is Enzelfin Yoon. And Robinson, who has a solid throw in her repertoire, on cue.
You know, this is a player that also has a lot of versatility in that high center back position or center mid position. She can drop back to that bowl, creates a different shape in the backfield, gets the press guessing in different ways, and she can be pulled up, she can pull back. She's extremely versatile for UVA.
Robinson's pass, a through pass, a little bit too hot to handle. So it'll be a hit coming out for the Tigers. During that 12-game win streak, Princeton has shut out 3 of their last 4 opponents. Carla Tagliente telling us a little bit earlier this week, she said that certainly against UConn was their best overall end-to-end performance of the year.
She was nervous just to get past Syracuse.
Right?
I mean, it's not often that a UConn team could be shut out. Maryland was able to do it earlier this season. I think that really speaks to the defensive performance that Princeton is executing now.
Robinson looking for a cutter. And it will be a long hit as the Cavaliers trying to work a little bit quicker here, but stalled out. Nowhere, gets it to the outside. Akabuchi works it back.
They really like these ball distributors in the midfield and outside back. So even at the 23-meter on those long hits, you're going to see this UVA team go back more than go forward because they want to get it out to those points. They have quick delivery inside the circle. And here is UVA with great possession so far in this quarter, able to earn their first attack penalty corner.
A lot of who's in the crowd, as we've actually had a great crowd for both games thus far. As Ezekiel Speed, her acceleration there garnered her the corner on the contact, even though that play started outside the circle, as Susie Sutton making the call for the corner designation. Filyoun will insert. Ansel Filyoun, you have to keep an eye on her. The majority of her goals coming off the insert. They set it up for Rachel Robinson. Big sweep and a score as UVA is on the board. Rachel Robinson with the goal.
Well, it all starts with the insert coming from the baseline, and that's great ball speed directly to the top of the circle. I think the thing that's probably most impressive about that goal is that the stick stopper is a little bit further inside the far post. So that creates a greater shooting path for Robinson coming from the top of the circle. But that's a long way for the ball to travel. That's the important thing of the ball speed off of the insert if your stick stopper is closer to that far post.
Robinson, 5th goal of the season. Rachel Robinson, a great story. Spent the summer with the UVA football team as an intern, and says that time and competing with the football players and with the other interns certainly had helped her to build her strength, quickness, while also working as a tour guide at the school.
I wonder if any of the football players picked up a field hockey stick.
They should. They should.
It's a great leg workout.
Didn't Gronk, after retirement for the Patriots, do that?
He's probably done a lot of things.
Yes, he has. He's dancing with the Lakers. Team. Right. So hit coming out. We'll have to see how the Tigers react to this first goal on the set piece by UVA.
Well, UVA has been dominating the possession game. I think at some point you want to see some more aggressiveness coming from this Princeton press.
In case you didn't have an opportunity to see semifinal game number 1, Boston College scored off of a penalty corner to start their game against UNC. But then the dominance and the strength and the versatility, the depth of UNC overtaking the play on the afternoon with Erin Matson with 4 goals as this one ricochets towards Hauschier as she clears it out. Capitalized for a 6-3 victory over Boston College, ending their great run this season. Tar Heels will await the winner of this game for Sunday's national championship. Ezekiels. And Allie McCarthy going at it. Ezekiel's winning the best of that one.
Now in for Virginia, number 8, Greer Gill.
Greer Gill actually with her first touches as she just enters the game, you may have heard. Here's Robinson with some room in the middle of the field.
Coming in for the Tigers, number 17, Emma Strait.
Jensen back up top. Akabuchi.
Took some contact in that UConn game and actually left, Maryland game, and left for some of that second half, able to be back on the field later in the game.
Nice save there by Bayless on a ricocheted shot by Jensen. Jensen nearly tipped that one up over the top.
I think Bayless is really skilled with her stick in her hands. She's active. She sets up early. She's always prepared inside that net, and she had a save early in the UConn game that gave her a lot of confidence as they went throughout the course of the game. It's important that she comes up with those initial saves.
Bayless getting some notoriety this week along with Clara Roth and Grace Brightbrill as part of the student-athlete wellness leaders at Princeton. They developed a pause wall going into the Caldwell Athletic Complex area where student-athletes could pause and leave a message, anything you wish to kind of help other Tiger athletes as you get ready to prepare for your games. Just like a little moment.
Is it PAWS?
Or
is it PAUS?
It's PAU, but I would agree PAWS would work as well for the Tigers.
For sure.
But great work for the players on and off the field as they thought up that idea with the other student athletes and the leaders.
Well, that's great recognition coming from your colleagues, the other student athletes at a Division I program. It's nice they're able to kind of come together communally and recognize what their needs are, because a lot of time that direction is coming from your coaching staff or other supporting staff at the university. So that's well done by a great group of athletes.
Coming in for Virginia, number 10, Colleen Norrare. Now playing for the Cavaliers, number 14, Annie McDonough.
Ezekiel taking her time. This is one thing, had an opportunity to see UVA 3 times during the regular season, and it's fun, Karen. I know you're doing the games as far as UVA inside the goal area, and it's tipped away by Bayless. She just got a pad on it, and it will be a long hit for UVA.
Yeah, again, great with her hands. I think if you're looking at ways where you can execute around Bayless, you have to go low. She's really athletic. She's also really active once she's on the turf. I think, for me, that signifies the person has excellent core strength. If you can reposition yourself while on the turf. You got to get in the zone. You got to make those saves. You got to get down and dirty.
And probably one of the coolest masks that we have seen this season is to see the back of it for Grace Bayless, and a corner called for UVA, their second now of this first quarter. They capitalized on the first one with Rachel Robinson completing the play on a sweep for a goal.
Yeah, if you're the post player here for Princeton, you have to be mindful of how well a hitter like Robinson is in hitting those corners. I think this defensive corner unit team has to get out of that goal cage a lot faster.
You see Ansel Filyoun waiting for the signal to insert. Left for Robinson once again, that was Kato Gushins with the reverse chippy that Bayless does not have to save as it goes over the top. Princeton trying to work quickly and taken back away.
Possession after those defensive stops are going to be key for Princeton. Have to outlet the ball very quickly, get UVA on their heels on the run, and try to execute and capitalize those unique opportunities.
Before the contact was made, the whistle was blown for a free hit for UVA. Annie McDonough, who's been inserted into some different areas as the season has progressed for Michelle Madison on that contact, but taken away by Princeton. Roth up ahead to Emma Street. Back to Roth. Tipped now. Hannah Davey trying to work herself into the circle quickly. And Filyoun takes it away.
And that's exactly what it takes to get inside their attacking penalty circle. Clara Roth, I just love how she has the green light to go. She's really explosive in this space. She carries the ball well.
The 2018 Offensive Player of the Year in the conference, as that will be just outside the circle. Quick restart by the Tigers, up over the top, and a corner called as it rolled up over Rachel Robinson.
I think we've seen in their first semifinal game just how important it is to take those quick free hits inside the offensive third. It's good decision making coming from the attack here for Princeton.
This is a Princeton team that has the Ivy League Rookie of the Year on the squad, number 16, Sammy Popper. She is extremely creative with her stick, number 16 up top. we'll keep an eye on her off of the insert by Roth. With 20 seconds to go here in the first quarter of play. Popper trying to work through Ezekiel. It's knocked away. Wasn't close enough for an obstruction call. And that should help the Tigers as they try to quick hit it here into the circle. Hauscher making the save. It was a long hit. Time will run out in this first quarter of play with the Cavaliers heading to the sideline with a 1-0 lead. The Virginia Cavaliers with a 1-0 lead right now is the team's their final thoughts. Rachel Dawson down low there. Rachel Dawson, a former UNC standout, also a longtime member of the national team. As Michelle Madison walks away from the area on the right-hand side of your screen. And Michelle Madison, one of several coaches this year reaching plateau marks. Madison against Syracuse picking up her 400th victory as a head coach and a long time head coach at that. Cavaliers with the lead right now as we get set to go here in the second quarter of play. Emma Street will set the tone here for the Princeton Tigers. Tigers went undefeated in Ivy play at 7-0 on the season. Talk about a competitive schedule. They did just that. Their first 6 games were decided by 1 goal. They had 10 one-goal games on the season. They went 8-2 in those contests.
I think you really have to respect for the non-conference schedule that Princeton puts together.
Yes.
A lot of that due to where they're located in New Jersey, but those non-conference games just to start out the season. First of all, with North Carolina,
Right.
And followed up with a pretty good Big Ten schedule as well. So this is an Ivy League that does not have a postseason conference championship or tournament, I should say. Be able to take that trophy with them in that last weekend against Cornell.
Greer Gill could not thread that ball up ahead to Aaron Shanahan on the play, and so here come the Tigers once again. Looking for some options is a lot of black jerseys knotted up. Allie McCarthy trying to turn the corner there on Phil Yoon. She is not able to, and so it will be a hit coming out. Mary Kate Neff, number 4 for Princeton in the middle of the field. They're a key piece up front. She tries to go up against Robinson. Had the game-winning goal against Harvard to preserve a 3-2 victory in a big Ivy League game. Third game prior to the end of the regular Ivy League season. Here's Shanahan on the outside. Knocks it in, and that ball actually went off of a foot pretty much right in the area that Aaron Shanahan is standing.
And Shanahan's going to look to feed that ball. She's not going to take that 1v1 situation. You saw her head up trying to survey what's inside the circle. This is where I would like to see Princeton step up harder to the ball because UVA is just too dominant with getting inside the circle, especially around that 50-yard line. Being able to build up their attack just at the halfway point of the field.
Are you a little surprised at the tentativeness to the ball that we're seeing right now?
For Princeton, yeah. I mean, from what I've seen so far in this NCAA tournament, more aggressive, more physical, a little bit more present when it comes to putting pressure on the ball. Some confusion there coming from the defense. It's a free hit coming out, and they just put it into play, and I'm not sure if the Princeton team was certain that was their free hit, but that was a play-on situation. You see right here, Princeton is asking for a video review.
Grace Bayless going over to Susie Sutton. And the nice thing about the national championship setting, We have 3 umpires, 2 on the field as we try to see where it happened here, and then 1 over at the table.
So this is after the turnover from the free hit inside the circle, and that looks like to be an obstruction call coming from UVA upon the second review. I think they were maybe saying it was an obstruction on the Princeton defender. It did take Princeton a bit of time to ask for that video review.
So again, this is the nice part of it. The 2 officials get to stay on the field, as you see Carla Tagliente, also a new mom over the last few weeks here, and great to see Carla back on the sideline. She was expected to be due, she told us, at the Harvard game. Ended up having the baby a little bit early at the Brown game, which actually helped as the team started to prepare for that final run. Been a great season for Carla as well.
Yeah, it's been a great year for
getting married.
Head coach Carla Tagliente.
Yeah.
Yep.
Getting married.
Final Four,
new baby.
How's your year, Leah?
Yeah, really good. And you know, and the team has really embraced the whole situation. Princeton, I would have to say, and all teams do really good job on their social media pages. Princeton really has a lot of fun with it. Yesterday on their bus ride in, a couple of the players did history of Winston, typical of the Ivy League school.
Right.
They sat on the bus, and they were actually moderating the history of Winston-Salem and the whole background with the tobacco area. And I listened. I wanted more. Actually, listening to it.
Yeah.
So
our head coach Marcia Pangratz at Michigan used to give us quizzes in the off season. Quizzes about the field regulation, the size of the field, certain calls, the rules of field hockey. As they say, always a student of the game, right?
Right, exactly. Ben Peters is over at the table. He's the third umpire on this game as they take a look at it again. They're reviewing the play coming into the circle. Originally, a corner had been called. Grace Bayless asked for it to be reviewed. Now, keep in mind with that, each team gets 1 review. If you win it, you keep it. If you lose it, that's it. You're done for the game. As the umpires continue to take different looks of the play.
I think you get a pretty good impression of the height of Carletta Van Gierke standing next to Carla Tagliente. I believe she's 6 foot. Definitely the tallest player on the field.
So it is overridden. Princeton will lose their challenge, so they are out of challenges. It will stay a corner.
And yet, I think the important thing, too, even leading up to a video review or the conclusion of it is that discussion that the players get to have with the officials on the field. Yeah, certainly is communication about interpretation of the rules, what's going to be called, what's not going to be called, so it's important to have an understanding.
So Fillion will insert. Robinson once again. She's already scored 1 goal on the afternoon, and it's rebounded way out. Gushchin's trying to keep it alive. Down to Fillion. Little flip pass inside to Gill. And they garner the corner once again.
Continuing to keep the pressure on here in the second quarter.
Robinson on the shot. Great foot save there by Bayless.
Accurate on her sweep. Robinson has a great step to the ball. She has a good wide stance. There's a ton of power. There's a ton of power on her sweep passes from the top of the circle.
Ezekiel's with the fake. Robinson Gushins once again with the swipe. Strike 1 by Rachel Robinson. She has a second opportunity, and it's played down by the defense, and it's going out as it hits a Cavalier foot. Here comes Allie McCarthy going up ahead. Emma Street looking for some help across. Hauschier comes out, makes the sliding save the second time. And a big break for the Cavaliers. Lauren Hauschier is not afraid to challenge you and come out and really has a lot of faith in her defense to come back and recover that on that line.
Well, the defense packed into the goal cage. But I think Princeton has tunnel vision right now. With the goalie pulled out like that on the end line, you have to drop the ball back to the top of the circle. Midfield needs to be more vocal if they're open at the top of the circle, but, I mean, that goal cage was wide open.
Phil Yoon up to Gill.
Again, Princeton's just going to do a little bit more of a relaxed press. They're trying to mark those deep pockets as well. Those distributors from the back can really hit that 50, 60-yard pass, connect with those high forwards. And Ezekiel's just is super fast. Can really explode into space, get inside the attacking third.
It was Ezekiel's play in a midseason match against Duke on October 18th in a 3-2 overtime victory that was really the difference out of the back. And we are going to have a card here on Princeton. And it is a green card. Juliana Tornetta with the card, so she'll be out for 2 minutes. Gallen with the obstruction. Gallen once again forgot something. She slides it back through. Gill over to Robinson. I will have to say, in just a 2-week span, and last time I had seen UVA, they are definitely more precise and on cue with their passing. Much more crisp and not turning over the ball. As Michelle Madison smiling right now, and I would be smiling too, the way her team has performed here in a quarter half of play.
Notice some hesitation too with Princeton from those restarts, especially on their 16-yard hits. That diagonal pass is actually open. UVA is kind of giving them that lane, but notice a lot of hesitation to even get things going. Princeton also not with many opportunities, and they're attacking third.
A little bit more pressure here by the Tigers. Have to be careful, though, not to overplay with too many numbers in the extended direction. But nice recovery and return by UVA.
They're great with their structure. They're being very disciplined with their structure, especially with Rachel Robinson, whether she's pulled up or pulled deep. It really gives this team such a creative look. They have great width of the field.
Peyton Tollickson in the game, number 21 in orange for UVA. She works the ball over to the middle of the field. Annie McDonough. Michelle Madison kind of playing with her lineup a little bit, has moved Annie McDonough up towards the front a little bit more to get her more offensive-minded, more on an attacking mode. As the Cavaliers continue to put pressure on the Tigers here. And this ball will actually be a side in a awkward section of the field. McDonough will restart it. Annie McDonough kind of gave that one away.
Yeah, a bit of a mistouch there, making it a playable ball. See this hesitation? I mean, that's not showing a lot of confidence, I think, coming from Princeton. With the possession game and the way that UVA has been dominating so far in this quarter, that's creating a lot of hesitation with Princeton. You can see the wheels turning slowly.
That was a great example there of playing through the whistle. Clara Roth saying just kind of a little bit beside herself there as she thought she had played the ball properly. The ball comes back to Ezekiel's now. A hard whistle, and I think we may see another card.
It was Tornetta earlier in this quarter was issued a green card.
A yellow card.
She's
wow.
going to be issued a yellow card. You know, I think some of the non-calls or calls here for Princeton have frustrated them a little bit. The end of the first quarter that didn't get called. I saw some of the players banging their sticks on the turf. You can sense some frustration from this, but that's a huge loss if Tornetta is not in the game.
We have not been relayed yet if it's a 5 or more.
Right.
But we at least know it's 5 minutes, which will take us right down.
I wouldn't be surprised if that was upgraded to a 10-minute penalty.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. Roth trying to work through traffic and beat Ezekiel's. This is a big momentum switch here right near here with the Tigers. And okay, now we're back at even strength a little bit as a card garnered to Ezekiel on the play as she sits down. So 19, Amber Ezekiel, you see her there, just a hair to the right and behind Michelle Madison.
Really like the pressure coming from UVA just outside the circle. They have that great support defense. Their sticks are down and ready, but they're being able to come away with those turnovers and outlet immediately. I mean, this is a UVA team that can move the ball so well that they change their vantage point on the field in a very short amount of time.
So within minutes or seconds, actually, of each other, Juliana Tornetta was garnered a yellow card. We know that she at least has 5 minutes. We have been relayed yet if it's a little bit more than that, if it's been upgraded. And then probably about 30 seconds later, Amber Ezekiel was given a green card. So the teams are at even strength here for probably another minute, and then UVA will be up once again.
This is a Princeton team that has taken a lot of preparation and time to doing situational field hockey, playing up, playing down. This is it's a talented coaching staff. And last year in the national semifinal, they said it was much more of a business trip where there was a lot more prescribed scenarios and plays. This year, not as forced, but definitely a team that has a lot of experience with game scenarios.
2016, certainly a magical year for the Princeton field hockey team. Hannah Davey trying to work that ball inside, tipped up in the air, knocked back down off of a body. Oh, I thought it might have been a corner first.
Again, you see that frustration?
Yeah.
See that physical, visible frustration? That can be contagious, with your other teammates. You're taught from your first year you can't control the uncontrollables. You just have to learn how to place them out of your head or let things slide a little bit. But mentally, Princeton has to check back into this game.
Another card, a green card now. And that green card, all right, so as quick as Ezekiel comes back in, a green card on Greer-Gill as she sits down. So we're at even strength. So the last 13 seconds, as you see, Tornetta to your left, number 11. For Princeton, and number 8 for UVA, Greer-Gill on the opposite side. So they'll have about 13 seconds of being a player up, UVA that is. Hannah Davey trying to work herself towards the middle of the field. Eliminates 2. Hot hit by Princeton, and they get on the board to tie it. A big pass ahead and hard working. It's Allie McCarthy with the goal as she slid through the defense. Taking a swiping shot.
Hannah Davey is so skilled, and she can play it on the left or the right, but you see how well she can match defenders' foot speed. Great dish inside, finds her teammate. And the number of UVA players that collapsed on that, Ezekiel just got beat there in that 1v1 marking. But that's great execution from Princeton. That's exactly what they needed going into halftime to make this a 1-1 game.
I have that on our sheet as the first shot of the game for the Princeton Tigers. So 1-1 here with nearly 2 minutes to go here in the second quarter. Played inside the circle. McDonough and into feet, so it will go out.
UVA's defense doing a great job of setting up quickly. They're skilled with their counter defense. I think they keep their unit really tight. They're highly communicative, but they're really ready for that restart. But Princeton is just taking way too long over the ball. I mean, I think that's really been a factor that's inhibited how well they can push the ball up the field.
Emma Street a little bit frustrated as she felt that ball was knocked away, as she was impeded her progress by Rachel Robinson. As we are left with a minute to play here in the second quarter of action. The Tigers scoring late here in this second to knot this one up. Under a minute to go. Tornetta is released, so we do know it was a 5-minute card. As Juliana back on the field with action. It picked up a green card and then a yellow card within about 40 seconds of returning to the field. Phil Yoon will just slide it back to Robinson, and they will work the timeout here in the second quarter of play. Street. Phil Yoon cuts it off. And that will do it in this first half of play. Virginia dominates most of the first two quarters. Princeton taking advantage of an open field opportunity off of their first shot. We are all tied up at 1.
And Princeton being able to fight back into that, even though UVA was possessing the ball a lot more efficiently in those first two quarters. I want to see changes that Princeton makes in the third quarter and to start the second half. UVA, though, their counter defense has been great, and they're not letting anything really get through, playing really tight as a unit. You want to see that increase or sustain in the second half.
Some preventive officiating going on here right now with the chippiness that we've seen in the first two quarters of play. The players step off the field, the umpires as well, and we will step aside here from Kettner Stadium, Winston-Salem, North Carolina, site of the 2019 nighttime upon us here in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. Leah Secondo and Carol Lentz with you as we are at the half of the 1-1 game between Virginia and Princeton. Earlier today, the North Carolina faithful are extremely happy because their Tar Heels came from behind against a very resilient Boston College squad.
Yeah, this game started out on a high note for BC, being able to come away with a couple turnovers and directing those to counterattacks inside the circle. You see Carlin right there getting her second goal of the day, but UNC, as they did all game, responded immediately. Erin Matson, that's just one of 4 goals that she was able to net in this game, as UNC does all season. Great player-to-player passing, 1-2, 3-touch, all players getting a touch on it. And here you see Matson with a nice little deflection against a Sarah Dwyer who really got BC into the semifinal game. Matson wide open. That's one thing you cannot do with this player if you're looking to defend against the reigning national champion.
Erin Matson with 31 goals now on the season. Creator also in that grouping of goals right there. Had her 15th as the senior captain. And so UNC now with a 45-game win streak and remain undefeated on the season. They will be in the championship game defending their national championship crown on Sunday. They will play either Princeton or Virginia here at Kettner Stadium at 1 p.m. The only place you'll be able to see it is on NCAA.com. We will step aside and be back. Welcome back to Winston-Salem, North Carolina. We are all knotted up at 1 as we await third quarter of action here to decide who will go on and play North Carolina in the national championship game on Sunday. How we reached this point? Well, Kara, it started off by UVA quickly off their corner.
Everything well executed here. Rachel Robinson getting a good sweep on the ball, finding that opposite corner. Her vantage point from that angle of the circle, she has a lot of different options that she can hit, but UVA was just pouring it on. And Grace Bayless was doing a great job in net, really keeping this Princeton team in it. You can tell that she has the confidence now to carry on through the third and fourth quarters. And then Hannah Davey getting the ball upfield with a quick dish inside.
Allie McCarthy completing the play on the goal, her 12th of the year, and here we are at 1 apiece as we get set to go with the third quarter of action. Lauren Houchier in that grouping there, number 20, the goalkeeper, set to go back down to her cage. Michaela Gallen, who started off really strong this season for UVA, kind of has been nestled, I guess you would say, nicely with other players surrounding her in the junior, having some pressure, I guess, taking off of her in the attack mode from that midfield position for UVA, as they have been complemented by a number of players. Though Gallen's still up as one of the top scorers in this team, but this is a very versatile, I guess you would, deep opponent in UVA taking on this Princeton squad. UVA will have the pass back to start this third quarter of play, as the clock winds down to 0, literally waiting for the clock to wind down to 0 here to start the third quarter. And again, a really solid crowd of fans here filling the stadium at Kettner. This is the 5th time that the championships have been held here. Jen Averill, Wake Forest's coach for Wake Forest Field Hockey, the hosts of this championship event. She and her staff and the entire athletic department have done a great job really making these student athletes feeling extremely special. I know the number of the student athletes telling us how wonderful the championship banquet was last evening. Tigers trying to find that big ball into the circle, and wisely enough there off of the play, Colleen Noer, the senior, letting that one go.
Haven't been able to connect on most of their passes, but sometimes those diagonal balls are on for a split second if they can hit it and get that self-start off quick enough. See Tornetta now move to that left midfield position, looking to defend against a quick right side here for UVA.
Amber Ezekiel at midfield. Hannah Davey thought she was going to get the call, and this one will go back to the Cavaliers. That's the second time now. Rachel Robinson has had a little faux pas with her aerial throws. Ball going back out to the outside, a big ball ahead. Here's Gallen. Working it down low.
And deserving of the attention coming from that Princeton defense. 3 defenders right there trying to get some pressure on the ball. I'd like to see the midfielders stationed up at the 23-meter for that drop pass if this is a player that demands that much attention.
Ball played inside the circle. Bayless with a nice kick save and knocked away.
She's just so active. She's always in a ready position, is an ability to play those quick shots, those quick deflections really well. Gallen with a nice little touch right there, too. Nice deflection directly on net. She has great presence inside the circle.
Broken up on the play. Gill with an opportunity as she tried to flip it back on to her forehand, and that might have been the difference in not being able to get any zip on that ball. Gushins with a big through pass that sets aside. Bayless, 5'4", senior from London, England. Honorable mention All-Ivy this season for the third time in her career. One of her best career days of the year, though it was a loss against UNC. She made 6 big saves in the opener against the Tar Heels.
Those outside backs for Princeton, too, dropping back when the ball is being taken from the middle. That doesn't give him much of an extra space or advantage or touch on the ball against that press coming from UVA. Gallen does a really good job with the first point of defense for this UVA team. You see the good pressure that she has on this defense. And again, Princeton just having such difficulty with establishing a rhythm, and it really all starts with those restarts in the back.
They'll restart it again. Ezekiel has it poked away.
It's a great play right to the top of the circle, too.
Tornetta tried to grab it from the backside.
Did not go 5 before it entered the circle.
Again, on that circle play up top, when you're inside that hash area, it has to run 5 somehow, 5 yards one way before you can bring it inside the circle like that. Princeton scoring off of their first, UVA scoring off of their first corner opportunity. Rachel Robinson had a big sweeping shot, was her 5th goal of the season. And then Princeton responded late with Allie McCarthy's goal in the second quarter to where we are at this moment. Juliana Tornetta needs to be on the field. You see number 11 in black outside of your screen as the Tigers look on. She is a big piece and a key for this Tiger squad.
Dangerous shot inside the circle. It's going to be a free hit coming out. The opportunity was there, though, directly in front of the net. Princeton hasn't even been able to lay a quality shot on net. I think UVA's circle defense is doing quite a phenomenal job.
The job that Carla Tagliente has done in the short period of time that she has been at Princeton has been phenomenal. In those 4 years, she has never had a losing season. She has brought this team to the NCAAs every single season. 2016, they made a great run with an at-large bid. It was a pretty magical season at that for this Princeton squad. Ezekiel trying to get it around Tornetta as it will be a hit. And quickly she works. Emma Street trying to work back towards the outside on Rachel Robinson. Leaves it for Tornetta. Nice play. As she works back inside Ezekiel, 2 players, everybody's tied up. It's got to be an obstruction. It is.
Yeah, but just look at the tenacity that UVA has with getting the ball back. Their back tackling, the effort that they have. Always 2 players around the ball. Just really like the way that the team defense is performing, stepping up outside of this circle. I think they've been very disciplined. That is not surprising for Michelle Madison team, coached by one of the best defenders to come out of college field hockey in Rachel Dawson.
Dawson really, it's fun to watch Rachel Dawson work with the midfield and the team at practice. She gets out there with the group of players, heavily involved as Gallon works it down to the outside. A lot of hard whistles are going to have a card.
Yep, that's definitely a hard obstruction call coming against Rachel Robinson. Emma Street just Clara Roth moves with such speed in the midfield. That's the only way that you can disrupt her, but she has been able to do that too effectively. That can probably bring with it some frustration if she can't just get into that open field and gallop.
So 2 minutes for Rachel Robinson, number 9. Key piece in the middle. Let's see how the Tigers react.
Quick free hit right there, taken directly to the 23-meter. I'm not sure if she tripped on the turf or if that was some contact coming from a UVA player, but she definitely spilled hard near the end line. But that play all initiated from a quick free hit right at the 23-meter. That's what you want to see this Princeton team doing, especially when they're on the offense. It's just been a lot of stoppage of play. A lot of time taken in between free hits.
Roth runs back in towards the traffic, trying to get that obstruction call. She does get it, Kara, the third-party obstruction.
And a player that you understand her skill set because she can attack the corner from pretty much anywhere inside the offensive 25.
Basically, that third-party obstruction coming along there when a third player, so to speak, two of the same team trying to go after the ball, impeding the progress of that opposite player. And in this instance, on the attack inside the circle, it works for the Tigers.
Seen some creativity this season in the way that Princeton executes their attack penalty corners with a direct shot from the top coming from Popper on her reverse stick.
So Clara Roth gets set. Hannah Davey, one of the strikers up top, number 7. Keep an eye on her. Instead, it goes to the side. Neff has it taken away, and the outlet taken back. Back and forth we go on the defensive effort. Big sweeping shot up ahead. Shanahan. Back to Tollickson. Up to Shanahan. And a whistle just outside the circle. That came up off a defensive stick. Tornetta saying it was outside the circle. And I believe Juliana has a bone of contention there. It did appear to be outside the circle once that hit was taken.
So that ball was tipped just outside the circle, inside the hash. Did travel 25 yards. The reverse deflection, dangerous and into space. Remember that Princeton does not have the referral for the remainder of this game after it was used in the first half.
Junior corner taken by number 5, Enzel Fillion.
Enzel Fillion getting set to insert as the defense gets set for the Princeton Tigers, still putting on their gear. Ezekiel and Gushin up top. Misplayed by Gill. And unfortunately, as it hit her foot, a big break for the Tigers.
It's unfortunate because the defense did such a great job with getting that big defensive stop on the corner and then taking it all the way to the opposite end. Would have been a nice payoff to at least get a look on net.
Now in for the Tigers, number 24, Allie McCarthy.
Tigers still a player up here. Tornetta trying to find the goal, and they do! Juliana Tornetta with the goal. The Tigers with a 2-1 lead.
They're starting to figure out this goalkeeper. You have to pull her out because she's going to commit. She's going to commit on the end line. So if you just kind of lay the ball into the circle, it's going to pull the keeper out. That's exactly what happens. It's a bit of a mishandle coming from UVA's defense. And then Tornetta right there. Look how she frames up the goal. She stays with the play, finds the open net immediately, and you have to have that diagonal look to it, that diagonal pass to see that goal cage better. There's certainly a big energizer here for Princeton with 5 minutes left in this third quarter.
First team All-Ivy, Juliana Tornetta, her third goal of the season. And none coming at a bigger time. It was Tornetta who garnered 2 cards in that second quarter of play. Spent much of it sitting down. And coming out here in the third to give the Tigers a 1-goal lead. Great move by Juliana, spinning through traffic. She does finally get the call. Juliana Tornetta, a 3-time All-Ivy first-teamer. And while she is 5th in assists per game, and a nice job. We see a momentum switch here as they're saying that Phil Yoon actually held the stick of Sammy Popper. So a big break here and a set piece.
Yeah, I think with the way that UVA is being able to tackle outside the circle, if you're Princeton, you want to see these upgrades. You want to see these opportunities inside the attacking third as an opportunity to upgrade the call. It's great execution coming from Princeton's attack.
Princeton corner taken by number 20, Clara Roth.
Clara Roth getting set to go here with the insert.
Michaela Gallen did a great job at that fly position on the previous corner set. She gets out super quick from the end line. Check in number 22 at the top. Breaks down her steps, stays with the play. I mean, that's really a huge difference maker at the top of the circle. I think the only way that you can beat that speed on the fly is a direct shot coming from the top. The option pass, she's going to be able to cover.
Tornetta trying to turn the corner and has it roughly taken away on the play by Akabuchi. But a long hit for the Tigers.
Have to do it quickly. See their pace of play a little bit quicker here to start the second half, but that needs to continue.
We are at even strength as Rachel Robinson is back out on the field for UVA. Colleen Norer with a bust of speed. And we get a corner call at the opposite end, outside of the circle.
Right. So again, I think teams in this second half are going to go a little bit harder with attacking inside their third and getting those upgrades again. If you look back on the way that this quarter has gone, UVA miscue on the corner, Princeton gets a corner, they score. That's where the details count. I mean, if you look back on a way that this game kind of changed its story, it was on the miscue on this Virginia corner.
There's Phil Yoon as she awaits the opportunity to proceed. A little bit of repair work on the defensive side as the Tigers are putting on their gear. Big sweeping shot by Ezekiel and a long rebound out.
What a great outlet pass.
Could be an opportunity here for Princeton.
Not sure why you're shooting toward net. You have to pull that goalkeeper out. Not a lot of rebounds or deflections inside the circle either. Stretch the goal frame. Get it wider. Get the lateral passes.
Hauschier with the easy kick save that goes to the sideline. And Tornetta will evaluate. Sammy Popper has the held whistle, ricochets off the crossbar.
Explosive and exciting to watch on that attacking line, especially inside the circle. This is a Princeton team that can really come at you hard and fast, just like their shots.
Popper, the Ivy League Rookie of the Year. Probably one of the most dangerous Tigers on the field. 10 goals on the season thus far, been held silent today. Princeton lead. Roth trying to force a UVA defender to commit to her. And a corner called. Robinson may have been just a little too aggressive
Yeah,
there.
I think maybe an obstruction call. If that stick to stick happens, that is an obstruction against the defense. But you can see them trying to execute that end line, trying to get this defense stretched out a little bit.
Princeton corner taken by number 20, Clara Raw.
Popper, Davey, McCarthy. Up top. Roth with the insert. Knocked away there by Gallen.
Yeah, they just can't get it past Gallen. She's just too efficient at the top of the circle. That's really when you can run a 1-3 effectively if you have a fly that can get all the way to the top. And not only that, but stay involved in the play.
Quick play inside the circle here.
Dangerous hit coming out of the defense. Going to be a free hit here for Princeton. Just look at the way that UVA gets outside the circle. Look at the team defense. You have 3 players just around the hash mark. That's great defensive coverage and support defense that you see from the Cavaliers.
Ball that will slowly go down in the field, and that will work for the Tigers as they can really take their time here. Under 10 seconds to go in the third. Princeton trying to answer with that big ball back. 3 quarters in the book. Princeton Tigers. Coming from behind is Michelle Madison looking to draw up something for her team in the fourth. Princeton trying to work themselves back towards the championship game, holding on to a 2-1 lead. Cavaliers, who will take on the University of North Carolina in Sunday's national championship game. 15 minutes to go. Princeton getting ready to break the huddle. And their defense down this stretch run in this 12-game win streak has been unmatchable. Cavaliers take the field. They have scored 42% of their goals in the fourth quarter of action, 71% in the second half of play. Do they have that left in them in these final 15 minutes against Princeton to be an all-ACC championship game? Juliana Tornetta, exceptional, picked up 2 cards, but has the big goal that has lifted her team now to this 2-1 advantage.
It's going to be an absolute battle here for the final 15 minutes of regulation. I think both of these teams have to place an importance on getting inside the circle and for those corner opportunities. And talking with both coaches, corner execution is going to be huge in the outcome of today's game, if not the deal breaker and the game changer for the victor.
Virginia with a 7-4 advantage on the corners right now. It's a 9-8 advantage on shots for Princeton. Quick tap inside the circle as there was a stick hack, and things worked perfectly as Eddie McDonough worked extremely hard. She gets the low fives, and Virginia with the corner call, the first here of the fourth quarter.
It's a great move at the top of the circle, too. Just gets the ball, enough of a lift on it over a defender's stick. And it's easy for a defense with that lift to come in hard, obstruct the player, get that stick contact.
Ansel
Fillion retreats down low. Fillion with 7 goals as an inserter and a defender, which is really crazily exceptional on the season. She inserts. Over to Robinson, big sweeping shot, up off the defense. It will be a long hit as I believe Roth got a stick on it.
Yeah, as the trail too, you see that ball with the option pass on the lateral at the top of the circle. That trail is coming really hard in support of the defense because UVA can take you 1v1 inside the circle especially.
Street with good pressure. McCarthy also up front. Tornetta on the outside, just trying to apply some pressure on the movement by the Princeton Tigers.
Coming in for the Cavaliers, number 17, Danielle Bouchard.
Big ball inside. It's ricocheted. A little bit too dangerous. Going to be a hit coming out. Here's Ezekiel. Bouncy ball. And Roth trying to work herself down. She does. Slices through 2 defenders. That was pretty movement of the ball by Clara Roth.
And UVA doing a great job with their redefending inside their attacking third. Big contact coming from both players just outside the circle. I believe this will be a card issued to UVA.
On that play, Hannah Davies is still down.
Yeah, she is. I mean, I don't even know how much you're going for the ball at that point. You get a better look here. But if you're coming with the stick across the attacker's body plus the contact, I mean, that's definitely going to be a major penalty.
We are waiting confirmation on the field as Fillion has left the field as to whether it was a yellow or a red card.
I believe UVA did ask for a video review. I did see some of the members on the field signal that, including the coach.
Fillion sits down. If it was a red card, Kara,
yeah,
she would be leaving the facility. Right. So at least we know it is right now, as of right now, a yellow. As the umpires will review.
So from a second look at it, I believe the contact comes outside the circle. And that's clearly an obstruction call that was then upgraded to a corner here for Princeton.
I will say this. She is playing the ball there. players running onto it. You have to have control.
Personally, I saw the body contact before I saw the ball contact. I mean, I saw her go in with the shoulder and the hip before she even touched the ball. So that, to me, if you're making the physical body contact before you even try to play the ball or touch the ball, I mean, I think that's deserving of a hard penalty.
The call will stand. Phil Yoon is out.
Number 20, Roth.
Roth will insert. UVA is a player down.
You know, the other thing is, too, if you find that somebody is beating you by their foot speed, you lay off. You don't come in hard with your body. You have to play off that ball, and you get beat.
Out too soon. Will redo it.
Virginia
loses.
So I believe there was an attacker on the circle that came out too soon, and if that's the case, the inserter is actually required to go back to the 50-yard line. I've seen that happen a couple times this season. So we'll have to have a new inserter here for Princeton.
Princeton corner taken by number 9.
Carletta Van Gurka will take the insert for Princeton. Backhander is ricocheted off. Sammy Popper with that slicing backhand shot.
So both of these teams use that skill on their attacking penalty corners. It's the first time I've ever seen it in the years that I've been covering college field hockey, is the reverse shot coming from the top of the circle. One stick stopper, 2 hitters, but coming from either side of the hitter. It creates a certain dynamic and a bit of unpredictability to the defense and especially the goalkeeper.
Hill with the breakup, broken up once again, stays with UVA.
Coming in for the Cavaliers, number 13, Adele Akamuchi.
Tornetta flips it in, nicely done. That is the first time we have seen that through this tournament thus far. Actually would like to see that more with balls coming into the circle.
UVA now just trying to hit some time off the clock as they set up for that free hit to delay this penalty as much as possible.
Phil Yoon in the background there, number 5, sits and awaits the opportunity to come back into the game as her team is now down a player with the contact.
Well, I think if you're Princeton now, you really have to push in this course of the game with 10 minutes left and a player advantage. This is a unique opportunity to try to create some distance here.
Gushins. And McCarthy with some nice job there defensively, just trying to apply some pressure.
Yeah, in the right section of the field, too. You see how aggressive Princeton is when UVA is trying to break the ball out. It's a great pass inside. Again, good team defense coming from UVA, working nicely together in tandems, sometimes with 3 people around the ball. It's going to be a free hit just outside the 23-meter. Love it. It's outside the 23-meter, doesn't have to travel 5. You can look for those diagonal balls, kind of like how field hockey used to be on the free hits without the self-start.
Now in for the Cavaliers, number 8, Greer Gill.
Ezekiel with some room to work. As it goes back, she runs out of area there. Tigers looking to push some numbers up.
Coming in for Princeton, number 18, Krista Hoffman.
Good effort there as Hannah Davey just ran out of a space to turn the corner going up the circle. Robinson looking for some options right now as she passes it flat over to Gushins. Ezekiel with the big hit to Greer-Gill. Tigers, in case you're joining us here late, are a player up right now with the yellow card distributed to Enzel
Coming in for the Tigers, number 16, Sammy Popper. Entering the match for Virginia, number 3, Erin Shanahan.
Tornetta's got some space here. Decides to bring it towards the middle of the field. Looks back towards the outside. Has Hoffman down low. Decides to carry it as low as she possibly can. Slides it to her. And waiting so long ends up putting her on the situation.
Continuing to try to stall the time on the clock a little bit more.
Robinson.
It was a great lift. Nice little bounce on it inside the circle too. That's a totally playable ball. I think if especially if you're a player down, you have a lot more players to get through on the opposing team. So if you can get it inside the circle on those aerials, that's a great dynamic with the attack and getting inside your circle.
Under 5 minutes to go in this match. The winner will get North Carolina on Sunday for the national championship. UVA, a player down right now with Enzel Filyoun.
Yeah, and I think that was actually upgraded to a 10-minute yellow card because she's still out. She's still out. So I believe that card was issued or just around the 11-minute mark or shortly thereover. So if you look to when that expires, you're only going to be at full strength with a little over a minute left in the game.
So as this one's just outside the circle at one point.
I think you add a player.
Yeah, I was going to say.
You have to add a player.
Does Michelle Madison consider pulling Lauren Hauschier?
Right. I mean, the defense was doing a great job in front of her. That team defense has been doing a good job inside the circle, so I think you have the confidence in your defense to do that. Just depends on which time this will happen. Probably looking at about the 2-minute mark, maybe a little bit more.
Coming in for Princeton, number 7, Hannah Davey, and number 24, Allie McCarthy.
Sammy Popper looking ahead, trying to find McCarthy, who's taken out on the play, on the collision, and actually on that play, no question at all.
Another yellow card issued to UVA.
Akabuchi will leave. Huge turn of events.
I mean, not only is she coming from underneath her shoulder in the upper body, but she took her legs out too. I mean, she slid right in behind her. That's a deserved card as well for UVA.
Adele Akabuchi on the left. Ansel Fillion on the right.
Princeton corner taken by number 20,
UVA's defense setting up now. Kara, they will only have 4 players rushing out. They are now 2 players down with 3:26 to go. Somehow, Lauren Hauscher got a stick on that one.
Great save, too. I mean, that was a difficult shot coming straight across the circle and clears it away from trouble.
Tornetta trying to slide one in. Three minutes to go. And as long as the ball stays down in this area here, will Michelle Madison make her change? She decides to. So Lauren Hauscher will come off. UVA will add a field player. As you can see in the background there, they are down 2 players.
Coming in for Virginia, number 21.
Peyton Tollickson will get the call for UVA, number 21, coming onto the field. This is a great opportunity for the Tigers. Akabuchi breaking up the play. As she tries to run the field here. Shanahan trying to run ahead. Broken up. As Hannah Davey goes the opposite way. Tollickson trying to get some spacing as Shanahan saves it.
They're in good field position right now to get something inside the circle, and it's an advantage at this point in the game if you're trailing to even get a corner because it stops the clock. It's one thing you do not want to give up as a defense is a corner, because that does give the team more time in the game to be able to tie it up, finish out in regulation with some ticks on that clock.
Michelle Madison shaking her head there as Susie Sutton calls timeout with 2 balls out on the field. Clock certainly in the favor of Princeton right now as they are taking as much time as they possibly can. UVA has pulled their goalkeeper. They are 2 players down. They added a field player with Lauren Hauscher coming off the field. Greer Gill trying to work the magic, but the high pressure here now by Princeton. Under a minute to go in this match. The winner will take on the University of North Carolina on Sunday. And a big play by Juliana Tornetta. That 3-time is another collision with Nolar. And the ball goes back to UVA. Rachel Robinson trying to track that ball down. Under 35 seconds to go in the match. Corner is called with 11.8 seconds to go.
And after all these corner calls, again, always a lengthy discussion that Princeton is having regarding the call.
Fillion is back on the field. You can see her there, number 5. She is the key on the inserts for this UVA squad. The clock will start once the defense is set. They've got everybody they possibly can, Kara, on the circle here to attack.
I think it's important, too, if you're UVA, if you're not getting the first shot off or the play, you have to get another corner to stop that clock again. Can't let that wear down.
Sweeping shot by Gushins. Denied first time, denied second time. Ezekiel with the play, and that should do it for Princeton. A 13-game win streak. They are headed back to the championship game for the first time since 2012.
Well, that was a heck of a fourth quarter for both of these teams, and UVA unfortunately playing down for a majority of that fourth quarter, but you have to physically play this game within a respectable area of the rules. Those are some pretty harsh penalties, but also some pretty harsh plays.
Princeton victorious. They will take on the University of North Carolina. Kara, these two teams met the first week of the season. North Carolina had to come back to win that game 4-3.
So you're saying it's going to be an exciting one?
It's going to be an exciting one. I think it's going to be a very exciting one.
I know that's what you were getting
we
at.
were going at. Princeton with a 2-1 victory. They are jumping for joy as the win streak continues. And they take care of the University of Virginia. Great season for Michelle Madison's team as they end the year at 18-5 on the season. A super run by the Cavaliers as well. So that will do it from Winston-Salem, North Carolina for our entire crew. My great broadcast partner, Kara Lentz. I'm Leah Secondo saying so long and good night from Winston-Salem. 2-1, the victors, Princeton.